It's a hot summer night in South Texas as RGV is ready to welcome Sacramento to town in a matchup that has not been favorable for RGV historically, and they are very much looking to get back on the right track here tonight after some slow offense of late. Alongside Devin Kerr, I'm Brendan Gulick. Glad to be with you from Edinburgh here tonight at beautiful HEB Park. Devin, you talk about this RGV team. They've shown flashes of being really good this year, but lately just can't put the ball in the net.
They've been abominable in the final third. Their manager recognizes that, and they're looking for someone to step up and take the reins. Can it be Carlos Small, Camilo Monroy on the left, Kevin Rodriguez coming in from the left-hand side? You don't know, and it's time for someone to really get going in the offensive third. He said defensively, we also have to find a way to provide a bit of support. Their conversion rate, 15%. That's in the bottom half of the USL Championship. Have to find a way to provide a bit of relief. Defensively just hasn't been good enough.
Take out those 4-0 loss to Reno. The other three games have been fairly competitive because they've gotten good goalkeeping play. Although, with Nicholas Corti playing third different keeper in 3 games, he does have a handful of starts this year.
The games against Phoenix Rising, Tacoma Defiance, and Austin Bold come to mind where they couldn't close out those chances. They do have a boatload of talent in between the pipes. Nico Corti, one of them. Tyler Derrick last game out had a nice run against Phoenix Rising, but it's all that balance on the offensive and defensive side of things. Sacramento Republic have found that in the likes of Cami Wassa and Sam Warner. They've provided some relief, but more importantly, the stability to find the back of the net. If they can continue to push numbers to these guys, especially Warner on the outside, he's third in the USL at crosses. Lovely to create chances, not only for himself, but the other boys going forward.
Oh, by the way, they seem to have RGV's number historically as well. They have never lost to the Toros, and so if the Republic can come on the road here and try to get something going early on, might see some pressure put on for RGV. Hopefully they can find a way to get out of this homestand with some offense and get some points on the board. Starting lineups, opening kick when we come back to HEB Park on the other side of this break.
The more we are together with nature, the more we are together, the better we'll be. There's forests and rivers, mountains and valleys. The more we are together, the better we'll be.
For 35 years, Lone Star National Bank has grown along with our customers. Together, we have helped transform South Texas, raised families, and planted roots to create opportunities that benefit not the few, but the many, to plan and build for a better tomorrow, to imagine what is possible. That is how you build strong communities and the strong bank, one generation at a time. For 35 years, Lone Star National Bank, the Valley's Bank.
Welcome to your hometown Whataburger. Customization is what we've always done. We have mustard, mayo, ketchup. It's all up to you.
When you customize your own burger, you can put your personality in it.
Manny's ketchup, no cheese. This is my Whataburger.
We customize orders 24 hours a day.
Everybody wants it just like they like it. When you can make it your own, that always enhances that experience for you.
They're just happy to do whatever makes you happy.
Hola, Bruce. Bienvenido a Taquería Manu. ¿Taquería Manu? Mi nueva pasión ahora que estoy retirado. Desde que probé las carnes marinadas, mi tienda para tacos son fáciles y rapidísimos de hacer. A ver. Dale, mira esto. Elige el sabor que quieras. ¡Híjole! ¡Qué rico! Provecho, Bruce. Gracias, hermano.
Carnes marinadas, mi tienda de HEB, celebrando nuestra cultura, costumbres y pasión.
Referee Matthew Thompson grabs the ball. The teams are just about ready to take the field here this evening on a hot, muggy night. Heat index is 95, but it is breezy, so hopefully won't feel quite so bad. Let's take a look at the starting lineups. We'll begin on the visiting side with Sacramento Republic. Tyler Blackwood gets another start, 2 games in a row for him.
3 changes for Simon Elliott's squad, and what is the versatility that he's been able to employ over the past few games for the Quails? We're being told that it's going to be a 3-5-2. You can call it a 5 with the wingbacks, but their ability to explode into the final third was really impressive in the first half against T2. Remember, the changes that are going on here, Ray Sari in the middle of the field, keep an eye on that, no Bijev, and of course, Rafael Diaz steps in for Cohen, who departs. Diaz, only one appearance for Sacramento Republic. That came earlier this year in a 3-1 loss to El Paso Locomotive. Now what can he do when the reins have been handed to him? You take a look at the home squad in RGV Toros, Jerson Echeverry, 3 changes for his team as well. Andy Cabrera comes into the middle of the field. He'll drop in underneath Carlos Small, play the attacking role, 10-type position. Connor Donovan slides in onto the back line. And as we mentioned earlier, Nico Cordy gets out in between the pipes.
Well, and for a team that has been lacking a serious threat to score over and over again without Michael Salazar playing between going back and forth, I think it's certainly tough to figure out who's going to slide into that role. The good news for the Toros, Devin, they've historically had a pretty tough place to play for opponents.
Almost impossible, and I mean that in the nicest of ways, but I always say that this is where dreams go to die. Edinburgh, Texas, HEB Park, a very difficult place to play. Look at the travel schedule for Sacramento Republic. From Sac to Houston, Houston to Edinburgh, 2,266 miles. I can almost fly from South Florida to New York and back, and it's the same distance. So it gives you an idea of how difficult. You combine that with, of course, being on the road, not sleeping in your own bed, and the heat and humidity really get to you here.
To me, I think it's more that weather that really makes a big impact for sure. We're ready to go. The opening kick tonight, RGV in orange and Sacramento in white. Off we go. Glad to have you on board from South Texas. RGV has not won since they beat Colorado Springs on June 15th. It's been over a month. That was a 3-0 win. They have allowed 6 goals the last 4 games, but that's a little lopsided considering a 4-0 loss at Reno. Coming off a 1-0 defeat from Phoenix Rising, the hottest team on the planet right now after demolishing Austin again yesterday, 6-0. Losing 1-0 and frankly having some pretty good looks on frame. Certainly you don't want to lose, but if you're going to lose, you may as well do it feeling like you're competing with the best team in the league, and maybe that's what RGV can build some momentum on. On the other side, Sacramento Republic comes in with a 1-0 win. Good to see them starting to move back in a more positive direction. They beat T2. Hayden Partain scored in the 41st minute of that game, a great goal in transition.
Chatting with Simon Elliott about that game, it was already seeing a move here. We'll talk about that in a second, but it was a different look for Sacramento Republic coming in. Said the 3-5, whatever you want to call it, on that back line, and their ability to go in transition provided a lot of opportunities in the first half. They finally get the 1 goal, and then to be honest, just didn't do a good enough job adjusting. Elliott said that we had a lot thrown at us. Cameron Knowles was able to make the proper moves on his side of things, and we were just slow to react. There was some late game dramatics from a personnel standpoint where they would shift into a 4-back system, and that's what they've actually gone with here. I looked right at you and said that even though we're being told this is a 3-back system, I would not be surprised if he's just kind of showing a bit of a facade here. It's exactly what's going on. Juan goes into the left back position. Matt Mahoney, who we saw a lot at right back for the Bethlehem Steel, slides outside, and the center backs will be Mitchell Tainer and Hansopoulos. Of course, the way that the midfield plays out will really be the interesting one. Will Cami Wassa play up top all by himself, or will he tuck himself just underneath Tyler Blackwood? There was a good look at that earlier on this year, and just can you continue that on?
You get a good look at Simon Elliott, who had a marvelous playing career. You went on record earlier this year saying you thought Sacramento had an exceptionally high ceiling because of how talented they were. There were some that felt that Simon Elliott's job could be in jeopardy after a slow start to the season, but they seem to be close to turning a corner here.
It's quite funny that all the experience, you and I have the opportunity to see all these teams, and with all the moves that truly went into the 2019 campaign just before the start of it, to me, Sacramento Republic was the best of them all. I thought they did a good job of keeping a core group of players, but adding some solid weapons. As immediately you see them trying to make sure that RGV can't push into the final third. And guys like Drew Skundrich, who came over from Bethlehem Steel, a Stanford standout, played alongside Sam Werner. And what could he do? And you know, he's shown you the look that he can go both directions. Jerson Echeverry on the other side of things, he's navigating some different water where it's more along the lines of, I've got probably about 12 or 14 guys that I can rely on my end, but I've got to navigate academy players, guys coming in from the Houston Dynamo on loan. That's a really difficult task to ask of him.
Well, it is, and there's no doubt he has been focused more on his team's ability to try to possess the ball. He made a big point to us earlier this week in saying, look, we haven't had possession as much as we need to, and I think that's where a lot of his problems in terms of finishing have started. You can't just expect to poach goals and see things go back your direction as you get Andrew Samuels to throw in here. No score early on. Sacramento working near side. It's tapped out by Sam Warner. Well, there's no doubt that RGV is focused here a little bit more on possession early on. The other thing, you know, you're talking about tactically that formation. I like the idea of Simon Elliott trying to keep opponents guessing on their toes, because he does feel like he's got some fluidity with this group. He can merge the formation kind of how, you know, they see fit at whatever given point in time.
There are a few managers in this league, Simon Elliott being one of them. You can also take a look at Mike Anhauser in the Eastern Conference for the Charleston Battery. And we'll throw one more at you, Bob Lilly in the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, that can honestly take 11 guys and give you a different look philosophy-wise as well as formation-wise every time out.
Small just way overbalanced. And he cooks that one wide left. Good effort, though. First legitimate chance for Small.
One of the guys that they really would like to get going. A little step up by Ansopolos. Small does a good job using that big frame of his to bring it across his body. And to your point, the unpredictability of exactly how you're going to set up and play makes it that much more difficult for an opponent to scout you. Last week, you start with 3. Now immediately you go to a flat 4. What's going to happen 5, 10, 15 minutes from now when you don't know? As a player, you're always second guessing what space are you supposed to occupy? Where does your responsibility lie? And that's hard for players in RGV. The good thing is that not only possession-wise, but Jerson Echeverry saying that they're working on themselves a bit more. They were a bit reactive earlier on this season. They're trying to be proactive and take the games to their opponent as opposed to letting Sacramento dictate the terms to them.
RGV, lots of touches here in the midfield. Sacramento, at times this year, has had good starts to games. They haven't given up a lot of goals in the first 15 minutes. And while they have scored some late, they also have been susceptible to late game goals. As you see Sari there adjusting his shorts. You know, I would think that in a game like this where you're playing against a team in RGV that's had some offensive struggles, you better stay solid late. Opportunity brewing, and it quickly got put to bed. Cabrera was the one stopped on the way up. Juan Barahona. Well, Republic FC all of a sudden choosing to be patient here. Barahona near side. RGV at times is high pressed early in this game. That one's too far forward. You know, Matt Mahoney a couple of different times, not just last time out, but several times this season, has played some fabulous balls forward. And I think it's been really dangerous. You can't sleep on Mahoney sending one from 40, 50 yards away and putting somebody, you know, right in stride. That's how Sacramento has scored several times.
Good distribution coming out of the back. That's just a proper resume, to be honest. His time as an Owl with Temple and the high pressure system that is the New York Red Bull in his youth academy. Of course, last few years, efforts being employed with the Bethlehem Steel and Brendan Burke.
Partain, after a beautiful connection, rips it with a left foot wide right. Good chance brewing. Blackwood running step for step with him, but a missed opportunity early for Republic FC.
For me, this is the guy that they really have to try and continue to feed the beast. He was one of the ones that was a bright light in that 1-0 win last week against Portland Timbers too. He had the beautiful goal, but it was honestly his overall performance, his ability to shut down the nice spaces, provide the distribution to his teammates. Simon Elliott said he has definitely come into his own, and they will look to continue to push him in a positive direction.
No score here, 9th minute of action. Along with Devin Kerr, I'm Brendan Gulick. Glad to have you on board for What is a hot summer Saturday night. RGV applying some pressure up top. How important do you think it is for Diaz to make sure he gets an early save here? Trying to get his feet underneath him after taking over the reins from Josh Cohen, who is on his way to play in Israel.
It's funny, it's kind of a double-edged sword in that question, isn't it? Because you don't want your goalkeeper to be tested.
Sure.
You want to make sure that you're providing him enough defending units in front of him. But at the same point in time, yeah, he's a guy who does not have a lot of game experience. But if you talk to the people around this organization, they feel that if anybody was going to step in there, it would be Diaz. His opportunities that were a bit more lucrative when he was with New York Red Bull 2 haven't been obviously as prevalent here on the Sacramento Republic, with the great play for Josh Cohen, but showcasing himself against El Paso as well as Open Cup play. A guy who's got 31 goals against and 24 overall appearances, so that's not a bad number to have. 8 shutouts to go alongside of that. So can you just continue after one of your biggest leaders has stepped away? You get a strike, sure, fine. To be honest, as a manager, I'm happy with him being cool, calm, and collected back there and just leaving him be.
Partain with the right foot off a quick touch. And he misses it wide left. Foul there called on Connor Donovan. Well, teams kind of still feeling each other out here early on. We haven't had more than just one terrific look apiece from either side. You know, I thought the point we made just before kickoff, too, about how difficult it is for teams to travel to RGV and then to play well once they're here. When you're in that process of the traveling, maybe it's frustrating, it's a long trip, whatever it might be. But once you're there, and you got to stay focused and locked in. The crowd here is always into things. It's a beautiful facility. But you got to make sure that you don't give up anything sloppy, especially because right now RGV is as hungry as they've been all year, because they haven't been able to put one home. I'm sure Toros FC would love to play with a lead tonight. Again, they haven't done so in over a month. That said, at 20 points, they're still very much a part of this chase. Almost a bad turnover. A couple of quick passes back and forth. Controlled for a moment here. Eric Bird, the young man, gives it away. Donovan taps back. Cleared out by Corti. Eric Bird, former Virginia Cavalier, national champion back in 2014, playing in his 4th game this year. There's some young faces on this Toros side too right now. You talk about the job of balancing things that Gerson Echeverry has to do. Some of the guys that are playing for him, whether they're young or inexperienced, that's where they miss guys like Micah Salazar, who has the opportunity to, keep that cohesion. Little slip pass played in. Defense holds strong enough, but still a chance. From a long way out, Donovan got knocked on the right shoulder there. Corti had it covered. Corner kick coming, first of the game.
Villarreal and Ray Sari holding shape in the middle of the field. Kemi Wasa all the way out on that right-hand side, trying to find a bit of space made available. Inside Sam Warner letting the referee know he felt it should be pointed to the flag, and it was.
Partain with the right foot, it's strong. And it's straight up into the air. Well, he allowed it to stay in play. Mitch Tainter wouldn't give up on it. And a throw in for RGV. 13th minute, scoreless in South Texas. Play held up for just a brief moment. Partain helped win it back for a moment. RGV controls. Andrew Samuels. Good look ahead for Small. Flag stays down. Small has a chance with a great move, and it's kept out. Small can't believe it. Beautiful stop. Mahoney, the 2nd game in a row. Mahoney made a magnificent play for Sacramento last week in keeping a game 1-0 at the time. He does it again. RGV feeling like they can't even buy a break after Small had totally deked out Rafael Diaz. Play stops here. Another good look at this chance.
Mitchell Taintor gets himself in trouble on the challenge against Carlos Small. Small honestly decelerates here. Where's the pace? Continue. One touch and hit it. Tries to get around the goalkeeper. There's the miss, and then a track back over by Matt Mahoney. Lovely work by the outside back. Look at him continuing the run of form all the way down to the end line. Just a good job by the entire defensive unit on Sopolos there in your view as well. And now an opportunity from distance. There's been some movement in the middle of the field for RGV tactically that has allowed Isidro Martinez to drop down a bit further and spring this attack going forward. We saw some trickery last week against Phoenix Rising where they would knock balls similar to what you just saw from Sac Republic, a long ball to the back post, and then bring it back in.
Isidro Martinez, short to the far side, ripped toward the right post and just off the mark. A fabulous look for Cabrera, but he hangs his head in frustration after misfiring.
Andy Cabrera tries to take this first time on the outside of his right foot. Sure enough, exactly what we thought. There's that ball knocked in, and though they don't get on the first one, the second chance opportunities off set pieces honestly probably aren't given enough credit, whether it be from a trailing run of your own or coming off a deflection or misplayed ball by the opponent. Cabrera tries to pick out the far post and cannot.
Well, RGV right now holding true to form early on, aren't they? Same story, different game. Couple of good looks, but this scoreless streak now of over a month continues.
We're approaching 381 minutes overall. Gives you an idea that does wear on your psyche, especially when the opportunities are there. It'd be one thing if they weren't creating, but eventually Lady Luck has to poke her head out.
Another really good chance and barely kept out. That one was probably more luck than skill from Taintor. How in the world did Rodriguez get denied?
Kevin Rodriguez is trying to cut this back across his body and find one of the trailing runs in the middle of the box. Lovely rotation. Andy Cabrera had come in from that 10 position. Rodriguez recognized there was space to be had. There's the trailing run by Camilo and Roy. Taintor almost puts it in the back of his own net.
All of a sudden, Rafael Diaz has basically been dancing along the edge of a cliff here in the first half of this game. Corner kick swinging into the middle of some open space. Cabrera couldn't control it. It rolls all the way back. Well, if nothing else, RGV has to be feeling good about the way this is unfolded because they have certainly taken control of this first half. About a third of the way through. Small, onside, needs some help. Turns and cracks one well off target.
It's a bit aggressive from there. And look, if you're feeling it, you're feeling it. Early on, he's trying to find a way to make an impact on this match. We saw the overlapping run. Diaz got caught out a bit, flat-footed, and then nice save on the line by Matt Mahoney.
You know, it's funny. It was something that Gerson Echeverry made a comment to us about this week, is that Carlos Small at times is so concerned with where he's taking the ball that sometimes he gets tunnel vision. Perhaps we saw that come into play there from a spot well wide left. Controlled for a moment. Sent forward toward Monroy. This time he's onside. Working one-on-one against Mahoney. Back up. Low shot blocked. Cabrera got a decent look at it. Samuels heads it back. RGV continues to attack. Had a little more success coming up the left side than the right here early. Although Small did nearly put one home. Approaching the right side of the box. And a throw in for Sacramento Republic. Along with Devin Kerr, I'm Brendan Gulick. RGV focused on getting points, but trying to take things one possession at a time and find a way to score here. They They've only won one of their last 7 matches, and yet they're still a part of this playoff picture, especially with the playoffs expanding and now 10 teams in each conference. RGV right now on the outside looking in, they've got 20 points, but there are only 4 teams in front of them, and a win today could put them as high as 11th.
Some really good opportunity in the near future for them as well. They've already let Slum slip by the wayside, but with everybody else above them slacking off in mid-season form, you can really only argue for Real Monarchs, Fresno, and Phoenix Rising, the great run of play that those 3 have been on. Everybody else has been very up and down.
Sure.
So a chance to continue to climb the rankings, and they just truly haven't grasped it. That all goes back to their inability to finish things off in the final third. And to be honest, there's been some defending that's been questionable down the line. We had Junko and Fuenmayor, who really weren't on the same page. Those are first-team guys for Houston Dynamo, not getting regular reps in Gerson Echeverry's squad. That it's always great to have players from another level step in. Junko in there again tonight. You've also got Camilo Monroy and Eric Bird. But when they're not around training on a regular basis, they're just not going through the same routine. There is a disruption that comes into play there as well. So even though the skill level from them might be a bit higher, the chemistry lacking a bit. You've seen some of that in their performances as well.
Good fight from Cabrera. Small tries to run onto it. RGV yet another chance early in the game. They'll have a throw-in. You mentioned Sam Junkwell. We haven't really talked much about him. Obviously a high draft pick in the 2019 Super Draft. Honorable mention All Pac-12 when he played for the Golden Bears at Cal Berkeley. And a guy that RGV would love to continue to put in the lineup here each day. A lot of praise from Gerson midweek. They said they're going to have to rely on him. Frankly, you better be strong up the middle at all parts of the field. If you feel like you've got a weakness at a center back spot, you're in trouble.
Well, especially when you have so much offensive talent coming out of the likes of Sacramento Republic. The amount of looks that they can give you and will on a regular basis make it that much more difficult. You'll see the outside mid switch a lot. Not necessarily sure you're going to see that as much tonight as Cam Iwasa and Sam Werner will probably stay on their sides respectively. I really like Iwasa and the shape that had taken his game earlier on this season, where he was sitting a bit more underneath the striker up top, had some freedom to roam. Thought that it was a good look for them. They've moved away from that. And to be honest, other pieces have stepped up. We talked about that. Tyler Blackwood now getting another opportunity. Hayden Partain in the middle of the field, his run of play. And the combination of Sari and Drew Skundrich in the middle of the field, like what they've brought. Now, can you put it all together when asked upon?
Lobbed wide left. Not a bad idea, but off target there from Juan Barahona. Good persistence on the offensive end here, especially from Werner.
Here's the rotation we talked about. Barahona just coming all the way back up, lacking in execution. Tyler Blackwood in the trailing run, just laying and waiting inside the 6. And when you do come on the road to HEB Park, talked about the conversion rate for RGV Toros. Sacramento Republic needs to follow the same line. This is a place where you're probably not going to have as many opportunities. So when they do push themselves up there, can you close things out? Sac Republic sitting actually behind RGV at 14%. And I was talking to you about this coming on air. 6 out of 8 of their games that they've won have actually been shutout victories. One of the other ones was the tie against Phoenix Rising in that 0-0 draw, Papa Murphy's Park.
Yeah, not many people have been able to solve that riddle this year. Phoenix Rising now 12 wins, 5 draws, and just 2 losses on the season, 41 points. They pounded Austin 6-0 last night. And they have won 11 games in a row. Starting to talk about one of the best runs in league history at this point. A lot of work to do to try to fulfill that destiny, but they are part of that conversation firmly. Barahona will throw in momentarily. 24th minute, still looking for the first goal of the game. RGV has certainly controlled. A real threat mounting here. Flag goes up. Offside. Barajona's had a lot of touches here on this near side of the field. We haven't seen too much action from Kamawasa yet.
From Kamawasa, nor from Sam Werner, to be honest. They are struggling to find the space out in front of them. Some of what you're seeing is, to be honest, a byproduct of what's going on in the middle of the field. Isidro Martinez has dropped down quite deep in front of Kyle Adams and Connor Donovan. Eric Bird and Andy Cabrera have staggered themselves, so they're tucking themselves inside, and when they start to explode to go forward, the channels are over-occupied because the runs are already coming from the outside backs. So there's no room for Werner or Iwasa to then get it out there. That's why they're trying to tuck in and go ball hunting a little bit. Simon Elliott will recognize that they're just trying to maintain their shape a bit better as they do cross over the center circle.
To the left side now. Another chance coming. Junkwa. Working in tandem in the corner. Cabrera. And Roy sends it to open space and a turnover. And a missed opportunity for RGV. You know, you begin to wonder, too, how it mentally wears on you when you build good opportunity after good opportunity and don't see it go in. I would imagine that when it's early in the game, it's a little easier to swallow. You feel like you're starting to build some momentum. But I would imagine, just like you can get used to seeing the ball go in, sometimes you get used to seeing it not go in, and it becomes a drag at this point of the year. These are the dog days of summer.
One of the worst scoreless droughts that team that I was playing on ever went through.
Good cross played into the middle. RGV defends it well. Throw in.
Was actually at the tail end of my youth career. It was my U18 year. I had a team that was nationally ranked, going on a run into state cup play. And at that point in time, for my squad, state cup was nothing. It was, okay, let's go get this done. Let's move on to regionals, make a run at nationals. And we tied the final game of a round of 16 matches.
The ball got pinballed around and scooped up harmlessly by Corti.
It's a 0-0 draw. We then drew the first match when we moved into, at that point in time, they'd switched the format up and they moved into 8. Drew the first match. The second match, we won 1-0 on a penalty. And we didn't really look that good, to be honest. And then the final game, we were playing a team out of West Florida that we just destroyed. It was one ball after another, finding its way into the offensive third. We must have hit the post 10 or 12 times.
Jeez.
And just the confidence started to lack over the course of the 90 minutes. The next thing you know, they get a penalty with 2 minutes to play, knock us out. And fortunately enough for RGV, they're not in knockout format. They have an opportunity to continue to progress on. You would be more worried if the opportunities weren't there.
Sure.
The good news for RGV is that Jerson Echeverry says not only are we looking good in training, but you're seeing them on the playing ground and against quality opponents as well. You've seen it tonight against Sacramento Republic. Last week we saw it against Phoenix Horizon. You can track back Austin, the list goes on and on. But at some point in time, someone has to step up and be the leader. It doesn't matter if it's vocal or physical, but it's got to be something to push your team to the next level.
Well, and it does give you the feeling, too, is they try to play through Partain. And he got to it, but rolls it toward Corti. Don't you get the feeling that because of all of the opportunities they're generating, it might just take one and then the floodgates open?
It definitely does. The problem is that they are playing squads that, though not necessarily better on a regular basis, they are more efficient. So when you provide a boatload of service up top and you can't close out, Austin Bold makes you pay at home. When you go, again, 2 weeks later, and Tacoma Defiance come into town, doesn't matter if you were the better run of play against 17, 18, 19-year-olds, you get a 0-0 draw. Tacoma Defiance, one of the lesser teams in all of the USL Championship. That's a game that if you want to be relevant and you want to make a run at the playoffs, you got to win. And then, of course, Phoenix. it was probably one of the better matches RGV played for 45, 50 minutes. But then again, the magic shines out. If you continue to let Sacramento Republic hang around like this, the Quails will make you pay.
29th minute, still scoreless. Sacramento's dodged a couple of early bullets, trying to mount one here. Partain taps over. Iwasa looking for a little magic of his own. Toward the corner now. Mahoney. Nothing came of it. Good work rate early in this one from Monroy. Camilo gets it back. Other scores from around the Western Conference. Colorado Springs, OKC Energy scoreless in the 13th minute. Good opportunity mounting here, near side. Quickly fell away, but those are the kinds of things you just can't afford to give up. Almost a beautiful chance for Rodriguez. Small, with room to work, but a poor pass. Partain. Good find. Iwasa operating left side. Crosses back toward the middle. And an awkward bounce off Partain, who gives him a thumbs up.
This is really unfortunate for Partain. Cam Iwasa did a good job getting all the way down and bringing this back across to find the trailing run from the number 7. But it actually takes a deflection off an RGV player. Keep an eye right on that left foot. Boom, right there. Quick little touch. Andrew Samuels gets on it. Honestly, this was coming back across the middle of the box. Would have been better for Sacramento Republic if it continued that way. Unfortunately, hits Partain, and RGV collect their thoughts.
All of the other games of the Western Conference don't get underway until a little bit later on here this evening. El Paso and Real Monarchs. LA Galaxy 2 has Reno this evening. Orange County and San Antonio, Fresno and T2. Lots of games going on out east, including a few finals earlier. Charleston topped Hartford 3-2. Indy 11 with a 2-0 win over Loudoun. Louisville City dropping a 1-0 decision to Bethlehem. Ottawa 4-0 over Swope Park. This game still scoreless. Almost a good interception, but you can see the frustrated look. Ball pinballed off the feet of Rodriguez. And Sopolos back to his left. This is Mitch Tainer. Sorry, rolls left side. Tainer asking for some help. Chips it over. Good angle of pursuit. RGV wins it back, and they've got a full head of steam. Cabrera. Monroy. Needs to get creative. To the top of the box. One-time strike off Diaz. It ricochets off the post, and then he turns and puts it in. Cabrera. Finally, RGV scores in the 32nd.
Rafael Diaz having a conversation with the referee. Felt like the deflection came in the wrong spot for RGV, and that one of the boys had overstepped an offside position. Doesn't matter. Andy Cabrera, persistence pays off. Camilo on the far side, lovely little ball lofted to the top of the 18, and it's the trailing run trying to put it on the back post. Cabrera on the first one, hits the woodwork, comes back off. Two great back-to-back saves by Diaz. Unfortunately, there's too much space to be had. Tainer can't help the goalkeeper out. They still want an offside, but Cabrera gets his 4th of the season.
How about the initial strike from Eric Bird? An absolute rocket off a crafty little pass to the top of the 18 from Monroy. RGV finally on the board. So 1-0 out front. We'll see how Sacramento Republic respond here. think part of their game plan here is to try to get Iwasa more involved. He just hasn't been a part of much sustainable attack except for the one we just saw about 3 minutes ago.
They got to find a way to get everybody in the middle more involved. Kemi Iwasa obviously on the right side. He and Warner don't really have any balance at all in the attack going forward. We've seen glimpses here and there, but not a lot. And can you find Villarreal, Ray Sari, Partain? Partain's been very active, but it's got to come through the two holding midfielders who have been almost non-existent, and that's not their fault. Just a lot of the play is being forced outside by RGV. It's very well done by the Toros, and the defensive shape they're sitting is very deep and just forcing them to push the ball out wide immediately, and there's no real gelling of the boys in the middle of the park. Simon Elliott has to find a way to get them more included in the run of play.
You can see how hard that wind is blowing. The ball really holding up. That was a borderline dangerous play. Iwasa looking for Blackwood. Barahona still down. Play continues for the time being. And they'll finally blow it dead as Juan Barahona could not come to his feet. Referee Matthew Thompson signaled that he may have been hit in the head, so that was the reason for the stoppage. Barahona, the El Salvador native. 20 caps for the men's national team, including in the World Cup qualifier. Perhaps a chance for everybody now to grab some hydration. Yeah, temperature officially 91 degrees at the outset, but the heat index much higher than that, approaching triple digits. Good news is Barahona appears to be okay. Almost looked like he got kicked in the head. He was kind of pointing to the back of his cleat there. It was a tough challenge, but thankfully he's all right. Getting fairly late in the first half. On the other side, we've talked about Diaz and how he's been a little rough from time to time. Nico Corti, who hasn't played here the last couple of games, I think he looks fairly sharp so far, although he hasn't seen too many sincere challenges.
That'll be the other concern for Sacramento Republic, is they have not been able to test the goalkeeper. And this is a team that, as we mentioned earlier, Jerson Echeverry feels the defensive unit hasn't been the best for them in this offensive struggles they've showcased over the past few matches. Only 3 shutouts on the season. But more concerning is the fact that 9 times this year they've given up multiple goals in a game. That is not the RGV Toros we've known in the past few years. A team that defensively, especially while at home, has been so consistent. That's just gotten away from them. Now an opportunity out in front of Sacramento Republic right now, just inside 9 minutes to go before halftime, to really just maintain the shape right now. Sac Republic doing a good job getting back into this match, though.
Barahona feels like he's had more touches than anyone else so far here this evening. A win tonight for RGV would certainly lift their spirits, but also solidify what they've been working on. They've had much better possession tonight. They've had much more threatening possession tonight. Able to put one in the first half here. 5 minutes ago, Andy Cabrera scoring his 4th of the season. Trying to add to it. An idea there for Rodriguez, but no connection. Bird comes in and causes a little chaos. Frankly, Sacramento looks a little flat right now. Seems to me like their defense has been awfully reactive.
RGV doing a good job just throwing numbers forward. And a lot of overlapping runs. There was a good look just now of Andrew Samuels coming out of the back, as Kevin Rodriguez has now followed Kemi Iwasa to this near sideline. Mitchell Tainer going to ground on the challenge by Andy Cabrera. Get another look. Center back trying to play out. Youngster overstepping himself a bit. Colombian and son of Houston Dynamo head coach Wilmer Cabrera.
Soccer runs in the blood for sure. Only 19 years old on an academy contract. Played his high school soccer at IMG Academy down in Florida. He spent preseason with the Dynamo a year ago. Getting some valuable opportunities here in USL Championship League.
He's one of the guys when asked upon by Jerson Echeverry, who do you think is not necessarily ready, but maybe in the talking point of making the step to the Houston Dynamo. That's one of the ones that pops up. Yes, he's just a young teenager, but showcasing his ability to really do a good job of providing the assistance going forward and also maintaining the defensive shape as well. Obviously got the great goal, but its ability to pick out other players in the run of play that's given him a step a bit further.
Take us in the mindset of a teenager playing in this league and trying to not just understand how you're growing as a player, but how to handle a stage like this, because this is a big deal.
So it's a really good question, and the immediate answer that you're going to get from most people who are in their shoes is the KISS method. Keep it simple, stupid. And it sounds funny, but anybody, including myself, who was at a young age, got an opportunity to play with the big boys, if you will. I wanted to get rid of the ball as fast as possible. And it sounds funny, but if you get it and play it, you force your mind to not think further down the rabbit hole, and you play faster. Mistakes are going to come less often. The manager is going to be more appreciative of the fact that you're helping keep the run of play going. When you start to venture out, that's when your ceiling can raise, but you can also bottom out a little bit. And what you're seeing out of Andy Cabrera is playing fast. He's also gained some of that confidence because he had some looks last year as well. Last year, a lot of 1 and 2 touch. Now he's willing to take players on. So you can see some of those glimpses that maybe he's pushing himself a bit farther, but also at times he gets himself into trouble.
You can tell the steps he's taken forward in terms of his physique and fitness from last year to this year, no doubt. We're talking about guys in their teenage years. Those are maybe more noticeable early on in their career. Great back heel touch. An opportunity. Blackwood couldn't get the shot off. Great sliding stop by Donovan. Sacramento almost putting in the equalizer.
A great job by Connor Donovan rotating over on the backside. Kyle Adams had stepped up and there was a lack of depth in it. Donovan slides over. Adams comes in behind him, and as he does, Donovan does a good job going to ground here. Really like Junqua stepping out. It was going to be a 2v1 situation.
Corner kick headed back just wide left of the post. Mahoney got the forehead on it, but couldn't find the back of the net.
Lovely ball in by Sam Werner. It's a wasted opportunity, to be honest. Mahoney does get a little shoulder charge at the tail end of it. And in the evolution that is RGV, we talked about Andy Cabrera in the middle of the field. There are obviously so many different personalities at play here. You take a look at a guy like Kevin Rodriguez, who was drafted by Minnesota United and Adrian Heath earlier this year. Didn't sign him, struggled in preseason. And they said one of the reasons that he wasn't able to buy into that squad was the pace of play. Just couldn't keep up with how fast things were. And that's an interesting comment because this is a team that does like to play fast. They put it down on the ground and they'll go in transition with the best of them, but you also have to be able to slow it down. They said that Kevin Rodriguez just really couldn't adjust with the ebb and flow of it. Jerson Echeverry feels like he's found a nice home here and hope that they can continue the tutelage.
Great ball played forward. Samuels was all over it. He's knocked down. Foul whistled against Villarreal. He's a bit frustrated. Actually, beg your pardon, that's Iwasa. But Samuels played it well.
A big chunk coming out underneath. Nice of Samuels to replace the divot. One of the British Open that's going on. I'm sure you've spent some time in front of the TV. I know I have.
How about that round of 63 today by Shane Lowry. Had a putt on 18 to shoot potentially only the second 62 in major championship history. It was a day for the ages, no doubt.
Outside of the World Cup, and I'm saying over my lifespan, which isn't that old, outside of the World Cup, when it's been overseas and things like that, the British Open is the only reason, and I'm including my playing days, that I was more than willing to get up early and lay on the couch and get my body going. You want to send me to the gym, go for a run? No, thank you. Sit on the couch and watch golf, I'm in.
Especially when they tee off at 1:30 a.m. Eastern time. A little easier on the West Coast. You don't have to go to bed. Back on the pitch here, final minutes of this first half. Cabrera, his 4th of the year in the 32nd minute. That's the difference right now. RGV finally putting one on the board, tallying their first goal since June 15th. Blackwood has the ball at his feet. Touches toward the middle. Mahoney pressing forward. Werner taps it over. Too much heat on it. Sam Werner and Cam Iwasa, looks like they've kind of switched sides now, and Werner playing out wide right.
This is the look I talked about earlier, where a lot of times in this system under Simon Elliott, he will flip-flop back and forth, and he gives the guys the option to do so at their own luxury. And it's something that really didn't happen, to be honest, until about the 35th minute. And that's the unpredictability we talked about, not just in the system, but in the overall personnel, where you can float around a little bit. I tell you, I want to run at these guys. Have a go at Isidro Martinez, who likes to sit in the middle, really make these guys guess, use the speed to your advantage, but also Sacramento Republic, one of the more technical teams in the USL Championship, and that just really hasn't been on display tonight.
Right now, Sacramento with 26 points, along with New Mexico United, who went on a terrific run during the Open Cup. Those two teams right now in, but right on the border in playoff standing. Sacramento hasn't been a fabulous team on the road by any stretch. 3-5. They've been quite good at home at Papa Murphy's Park. But they're in danger of losing tonight to RGV for the first time ever. Lots of games still in front of us, though. Got 1 minute of stoppage time. It's been a pretty clean first half. Here's the official signal.
Fourth official signal, 1 minute of extra time.
Ansopoulos. Wasa's got 2 different numbers on.
Good for you, buddy. That's right. Make them double duty on the contracts. I respect that. I'm wearing 2 different numbers. I'm getting paid twice. You better believe it.
Perhaps he's helping the production value of whoever was supposed to wear that number earlier, or maybe he forgot his shorts. Who knows? No 39 on the active roster tonight. Good ball played into the middle. Some traffic there. Last chance opportunity. Referee can blow the whistle at any time, and he will here. Halftime. RGV strikes first with Andy Cabrera's 4th goal of the year. Came in the 32nd minute. It felt like it was coming for Toros FC. They finally got one to go in, beating Diaz in his first game playing with Josh Cohen no longer on the roster. Halftime stats analysis and some first half highlights when we come back. It's 1-0 RGV at the break.
The more we are together with nature, the more we are together, the better we'll be. There's forests and rivers, mountains and valleys. The more we are together, the better we'll be.
For 35 years, Lone Star National Bank has grown along with our customers. Together, we have helped transform South Texas, raised families, and planted roots to create opportunities that benefit not the few, but the many, to plan and build for a better tomorrow, to imagine what is possible. That is how you build strong communities and the strong bank, one generation at a time. For 35 years, Lone Star National Bank, the Valley's Bank.
The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind.
At DHR Health, we have one goal: advancing the health of the Rio Grande Valley. We're deeply committed to our community and its health. DHR Health. Here for you for life.
Shop online at birdogden.com. Pick out your vehicle and click Buy Now. Work your own deal and submit your trade. It's that easy. Shop now at birdogden.com. Daligas.
Big, deep breath for RGV Toros FC fans. They are out front by a score of 1-0 tonight after the offense has evaded them of late. Take a look at the standings around the East and West. We'll begin on the west side, where Phoenix Rising FC continues to be the really the measuring stick of this entire league this year.
10 in a row. They have now tied the 2018 consecutive wins record set by FC Cincinnati. They'll get an opportunity in their next match out against Tulsa to go for lucky number 11. Now Monarchs have now shot 5 in a row, though an interesting one tonight. They'll take on El Paso Locomotive, and getting underway right around when we did. New Mexico United dripping down the standings after their Open Cup run and defeat to Minnesota United. Get a look at everything that's going on. There's the match we just talked about, El Paso Locomotive. They've been dropping down. Reno 1868 after their loss to Phoenix Rising in their Wednesday night soccer match. They've been on a nice run of form. And how about that juicy fixture? Fresno FC and T2. That should be a fun one.
Yeah, it really should be one of the premier games here this week, no doubt. Take a look at RGV's upcoming schedule. They've obviously gone through a tough patch here, but I'm sure they've got some revenge on their mind with that game against Reno, considering the last time they met.
The Reno match going on the road to Vegas. They've got an interesting one coming up, to be honest, because after this home game, they play 3 of the next 4 on the road, and it's a pretty difficult venues. Vegas, not an easy place. In altitude at Widener Field for Colorado Springs, and then the matchup at Toyota Field against San Antonio FC. Darren Powell's squad is an interesting one. They've been rotating formations as well, and what exactly will happen on August 17th should be a fun one.
Now, this has been a tough place to play historically, for sure, and obviously the fact that you've got to travel a long way to get to Edinburgh, Texas helps. And tonight, I think perhaps you're seeing a bit of that.
Tonight's match number 60, but in the first 59, I talked to you about this coming on, 48 of those matches have ended in 2 goals or less. And that's a combination of the opponent, home and away. But multi-goal games just don't happen for the opposition. There's only like 5 times had anyone ever scored more than 3 goals in a game. That's a small number considering the short history in this venue.
So perhaps a more comfortable lead than just 1-0. We'll find out more halftime coverage when we come back in just a moment.
Long strike, a goal for Orange County. Lacroix and Duke Lacroix. This is dangerous, headed on frame. It is a goal for Orange County. And Corey Herzog, and he perfectly places it. In towards the back post, in the air and through. Orange County. Reese Williams with some space. Williams curls it inside the 18. Soccer attempt and a beautiful strike on the bicycle for Lansing Ignite FC. Absolutely incredible. Elma Enfor. Are you kidding me? Going long distance, trying to connect. Sayone, and he puts it in the back of the net from long distance. Sending it forward. Here's another opportunity, and boy, you back of the net. That is what they've been looking to do all night long. 91st minute, we are tied at 1 apiece. Here's Mintz again. Mintz gets across to the top of the D. Moshomani left foot. Beautiful strike. Tumi Moshomani. Here comes North Texas on the attack. The strike and a goal.
Is this the moment? Jose Angulo! Dillon Stadium alive again! Martinez! What a way to secure a hat-trick!
does the 17-year-old.
Looked like it hit the heel of Forrester. And the Bold have the answer moments later. Guess who? Tierpak. Cervantes got the early rounds against the super sub.
There's bodies up there. Yeah, there's bodies up there. See, right. See this. This is where he shines. Cross that in, lets it through. Here's Partey.
Can you believe that? What a strike. His second on the year.
Kobayashi trying to pick it up Ryan Wright. Wright brings it down. Wright puts it in.
A 1-0 lead at halftime. RGV with a goal in the 32nd minute from Andy Cabrera. And the Toros playing from out front here this evening. Take a look at the reigning team of the week across USL Championship. Barajona's gotten a lot of action tonight. Certainly had a good week last week.
So the Jordan Burt mythical mustache sighting. John McFarland, unfortunately, went down injured in the game against Phoenix Rising. CJ Cochran will have his opportunity to showcase himself once again as they take on Portland Timbers 2. Adam John, that front three is crazy. And of course, the man himself, Enzo Martinez, Charlotte Independence. Mike Jeffries has turned that team around. They are on the rise in the Eastern Conference.
John had the goal of the week. If you missed it, you can check it out on the league website, uslchampionship.com. It was fabulous. He got the goal because Solomon Asante had a fantastic cross right across to him. It's Asante that's been typically doing the finishing.
Frater will get an opportunity to showcase himself in the next game out for New Mexico United, serving his suspension. Daniel Rios, Nashville SC, they had a midweek win. Solomon Asante, the fastest ever, 14 goals, 11 assists, fastest ever to the double-double in league history.
It's pretty impressive the way he and that team have really played well. No surprise to see them up top at number 1. How about the Red Bulls too, though, in that 5 spot?
It's I want to say concerning, a bit surprising. Especially if they're playing at home, like, forget it. All bets are off. They're going to get a playoff match and forget it. Put them in the Eastern Conference Final. Let's get it over with. Just kidding there. I actually picked somebody else. Tampa Bay Rowdies, still the 1 loss. They got an upcoming game, though, on Wednesday Night Soccer for the USL Championship. Well, they will travel to North Carolina FC. Their only loss on the season was when Dave Saracen boys went to Al Lang and handed one to them.
North Carolina FC takes a little bit of a drop here this past week. Couple of storylines to keep your eye on. Of course, haven't talked too much about it, but Josh Cohen heading overseas to play in Israel. That's a big loss for Republic FC. They're going to miss one of the best goalkeepers in recent league memory.
Sold to Maccabi Haifa in the Israeli Premier League, a team that's part of what they call the Big Four, similar to what you hear out of the Premier League. Won 12 league titles and 10 domestic cups. Great opportunity for Josh Cohen. And how about who they brought in? Dariusz Formela, and the opportunity with the Polish national team. Played for the 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Sorry, I had to get that all in there. And a guy who's got a boatload of pedigree at only 23 years of age. So just pushing on in his professional career. Another one, 180 appearances, 26 goals, 16 assists, Polish league title, Polish Cup, Polish Super Cup, partridge in a pear tree. That's all I got.
I'm just going to say, he's got himself one heck of a CV as he is on his way out to the West Coast. All right, we'll take one more time out, give you the halftime highlights when we come back.
The more we are together with nature, the more we are together, the better we'll be. There's forests and rivers, mountains and valleys. The more we are together, the better we'll be.
For 35 years, Lone Star National Bank has grown along with our customers. Together, we have helped transform South Texas, raised families, and planted roots to create opportunities that benefit not the few, but the many, to plan and build for a better tomorrow, to imagine what is possible. That is how you build strong communities and the strong bank, one generation at a time. For 35 years, Lone Star National Bank, the Valley's Bank.
Welcome to your hometown Whataburger. Customization is what we've always done. We have mustard, mayo, ketchup. It's all up to you.
When you customize your own burger, you can put your personality in it.
Manny's ketchup, no cheese. This is my Whataburger.
We customize orders 24 hours a day.
Everybody wants it just like they like it. When you can make it your own, that always enhances that experience for you.
They're just happy to do whatever makes you happy.
However you want it, I got you. Here at Whataburger, we make it just like it, whenever you like it.
Hola Bruce, bienvenido a Taquería Manu. ¿Taquería Manu? Mi nueva pasión ahora que estoy retirado. Desde que probé las carnes marinadas, mi tienda para tacos son fáciles y rapidísimos de hacer. A ver, dale, mira esto. Elige el sabor que quieras. ¡Híjole, qué rico! Provecho, Bruce. Gracias, hermano.
Carnes Marinadas, mi tienda de H-E-B, celebrando nuestra cultura, costumbres y pasión.
Fans enjoying their time here tonight at H-E-B Park. Lots of smiles, largely because their side has a 1-0 lead for the first time in quite a while. Let's take a look at the first half highlights. It took a little while to finally get to that goal. Plenty of early opportunities. And in fact, even starting on the Sacramento side, Hayden Partain got things rolling.
It really felt like there needed to be more movement out of the middle of the field for Villarreal, and Hayden Partain. This was one early on. And the guy who really changed the game last week against T2 tries to go far post. Unfortunately, can't pick it out. Carlos Small really felt like he downshifted here. He had a lot of pace in front of him, didn't carry that momentum. Well done by Matt Mahoney on the far side to clear things off. Just keep an eye. The center back gets enough pressure from Antsopoulos, and then Mahoney clears it off. There would be the long ball knocked back in. Watch the little touch up here. Cabrera outside. No, couldn't pick out the far one. That was one of the ones where the youngster just tried to showcase some of his technical ability. Got away from him a bit. Kevin Rodriguez. Pace, no problem. Has the trailing run. And you almost see it put in the back of his own net by Mitch Tainer. And then what could we do with the goal? Great in transition. Cabrera with his head up the entire time, looking for the quick little 1-2. Lovely ball played back across. And then how about the patience by Monroy? He notices that the passing lane breaks down, then finds its way back up top to the trailing run of Eric Bird, and just the perseverance by Cabrera on the backside of this. The first one doesn't go in, but if at first you don't succeed, you hit it in the second time.
It just felt like over and over again it was coming. It had to have finally come home, but it took extra effort, a save, a shot off the post, and frankly Diaz almost kept it out, but Cabrera able to finally thread the needle. So it's 1-0 as you see Cabrera when he was heading off to that halftime locker room. Here are your numbers in the first half. Possession, even though it technically favors Sacramento Republic FC, it felt like Toros FC had far more dangerous possession.
Definitely the better run of play, and they looked more dangerous when they got into the final third. That's what Jerson Echeverry was preaching to us. We need to create consistently. They did that in the first half. The problem that they're going to run into is it's really difficult to hold the lead against Sacramento Republic, a team that never bows out of a match. So they're going to have to continue to push numbers forward, because I promise you, the message at halftime from Simon Elliott wasn't an inspiring one. It was pick your heads up, get it together. We got a job to do, and only 45 minutes to get it done.
Well, the fact is, Jerson knows that his team at times this year has given up some pretty good goals. But using his own words, he says, at times we've made some really juvenile mistakes, and you can't afford to do that. He's had some pretty young players on the field from time to time. This could be a win that helps them here just past the halfway point of the season, kind of get things rolling once more. Alongside Devin Kerr, I'm Brendan Gulick. Second half action from South Texas, where it is hot but breezy tonight and not terribly uncomfortable, as Sacramento Republic look for their second consecutive win. RGV trying to win this series, or I should say win a game in this series for the first time ever. They're winless in their first 8 against Sacramento all-time, are the Toros FC. RGV in their home orange kits, Sacramento on the road in their whites. Perhaps an early chance here. Little dancing into the middle. Cabrera over to Small on sides, and he just misses high. That's twice tonight. Small on the doorstep. Comes up empty.
What do you have to do if you're Carlos Small? Everything done right by your teammates. Kevin Rodriguez, good ball in. Had pulled some runners with him. Andy Cabrera just slides this right across. To be fair, Small could have hit it the first time, and the second one, if you want to take the second touch, that's fine. But you cannot lean back this much. Hold composure, maintain your form, and just slot this back in and make it a little bit easier. Give yourself a cushion. Instead, The Quails retain the striking distance.
You want to talk about dodging an early bullet. Opening minute of the second half, as Cabrera and Partain are told, take a chill pill. Same thing with Ansopoulos. No card coming, but it was a pretty stern warning.
I want to make sure I don't get myself in trouble here with the commentator's curse. I'd like to pay a little bit of credit with all the negative comments that have gone on over the past few weeks. I thought Matthew Thompson, our referee, did a really good job of really policing the game in the first half. Nice open run of play, not a lot of stoppages. And this one, there is the outstretched elbow from Ansopoulos to Andy Cabrera in the middle of the field. And it's always nice when you don't have to bring a referee's name up. That means they're doing their job. They're letting the boys play. Great job by the refereeing crew.
Always happy to give credit when it's due. Diaz, kind of a rocky stretch there in that first half. After early on, maybe he got his feet underneath him, but then started to see some really tough looks come his way. Sacramento technically still doesn't have a shot on goal. Oh, another great opportunity. Monroy Diaz makes the diving stop. That's two that potentially could have gone in here in the first 3.5 minutes in this second frame. Barahona needs some help. Got stepped on. Another look here at Monroy, almost putting one home.
Camilo was one of the guys that Jerson Echeverry brought up to us, said that shocking that he still hasn't broken through and gotten his first goal for us. On loan from America de Cali in Colombia. The Mexican player still trying to find his breakthrough for RGV, creating a lot of opportunities, just hasn't been able to close out his own.
Headed back toward the top of the 18 and a crafty little play to get it out of harm's way. Monroy has been a staple. He has started the last 5 games in a row. He's subbed off in 2 of those 5, but his work rate's been good. Get a foul called there against RGV. Monroy and Cabrera. Partain pushed him down.
Just like that, we've had 5 whistles in the span of about 2 minutes. Everybody at home is cursing me. I knew it. That's exactly what I get.
I wasn't going to bring it up, but you seem to have come to that conclusion pretty much on your own.
I mean, to be honest, I don't normally step out and say kudos to the refereeing crew, even if it's only for 45 minutes. So short-lived, I guess.
Small, does he have yet another chance? No. I like the idea. Sacramento thinking they could play up the left side into the wind here this half. Sometimes it doesn't make a huge difference, but on a night like tonight where the breeze is steadily blowing 15 miles per hour with gusts certainly bigger than that, you can kind of see the way when the ball is kicked across your screen from left to right, the way it floats in the air. Make a little bit of an adjustment. Sorry, plays back. Ansopoulos now, Matt Mahoney. Near side, Partain. Ansopoulos. Tainter. Sorry, right back to Mitch. Drives it with his left foot. Too much heat on it. Good idea, though, for Werner. Kind of hard to tell on the flags there down in the corner because of the way the field is settled down. But there's no doubt that Wind is still a factor. Republic FC looking for a chance. They may have it here. Tap forward. Blackwood couldn't get there. Villarreal may have had a chance to take a one-time shot. Chose the pass instead. Blackwood not quick enough.
This is really well done by Nico Corti, showcasing his speed though. Lovely ball in by Villarreal. Blackwood can't change gears quick enough, and the goalkeeper quick off his line to collect the ball.
After Republic FC have gotten out of trouble the first few times early in the second half, they are closing in on an equalizing goal. That one friendly fire wide right, and a corner kick coming.
Just keep pumping numbers into the box. You're down, but you're not out. Lovely opportunity with Blackwood at the near post, just trying to redirect it. Takes a deflection. Another set piece opportunity. Twice so far we've seen them knock this long ball to the back post and try and play the second one back across.
Corti punches it out. Negates the opportunity for a moment. Pressure from Small. That forces a mistake. Didn't have any halftime subs, but reason to believe that perhaps Simon Elliott and Gerson Echeverry may go to their bench later on. Owasa did not start last week. Blackwood got the start instead. Cam came on in the 72nd minute of that game. Owasa, Werner, and Blackwood all started here this evening. Wouldn't be surprised if Villian Bijev makes an appearance at some point. Perhaps Stefano Bonomo. This is Partain swinging it across. Another good look. Great work rate. Dies in the box. Barahona had a lot of English on the ball. He tried to find Blackwood. Just didn't work out.
This isn't a bad idea from Tyler Blackwood. Have to wonder why Kyle Adams doesn't stick his head out here. You're in a win-win. Either you win the tackle, or when you put your head out and try and go for it, Blackwood's high boot, you win a penalty. Going the other direction. Foul, of course. I don't want to freak everybody out at home. And when it comes back in, the center back has to understand that you have to be smarter in this situation. Don't give a half chance, however it may be. This little hesitation right there. See him pull away from the challenge? You cannot do that. You're put as a leader on that back line for a reason. Have to follow through in the 50-50s.
Kyle Adams really hasn't been tested too much tonight. It only takes one mistake. It's glaring enough. It can cost you in a big way. Sacramento down a goal, but mounting legitimate attack here. Cabrera comes in from behind, pokes that one away. Gonzopoulos, you want to talk about an imposing figure. He's got to be one of the biggest center backs in the league. The ball played forward toward Werner. He's got numbers moving in toward the middle, but cracks a pass way over the top. Samuels has a chance to survey the pitch for a moment. Not a bad game from Werner, but I'm sure he'd like to find his way into the box score. Good challenge. Sorry helps win possession back. Into the middle. Blackwood had overrun it. The pass was too far behind him and in front of Werner. Juan Barahona trying to facilitate from that far side. He does it again with the right foot. Tries to pick out the back post. Too much.
Republic trying to find a way to stay within arm's reach here. A little cut back in as RGV had allowed him to occupy a bit of space in the middle. El Salvador native, as well as his counterpart on the other side, Matt Mahoney, just struggling to find the balance they've been looking for on the offensive defensive side of the ball. I mentioned earlier that Sam Werner and Kemi Wasa aren't really in full effect tonight. The way the game's playing out, RGV forcing them to the wings, and not in a good way. A lot of times you'll see with Sacramento Republic, beautiful build-up. You can get the midfield 3-4 going at times and have a lot of space down into the channels. RGV have obviously done their homework, as that is not a look that they're willing to give to the visiting squad. It's a good look at it right there, where everybody's tucking themselves in, and just a flat line defensively for the orange shirts. No space for them.
Partain 1-2 touch. Werner has a chance. Well defended with the left foot. Pinballs to some open space. Barahona approaches, keeps it. Owasa. Mahoney. 2 touches back to Werner. Werner's cross in. Toros FC defense does a great job. Not out of danger yet. Partain rips one off a teammate and a goal kick. Talk about sustained pressure.
There's some frustration at the tail end of this for Hayden Partain. Feels like he has a good opportunity to go with a strike from distance. A grimace on the face as he can't even put it on frame to challenge Nico Corti. We saw him have a wonder goal last week against Portland Timbers too. If not, go check it out. You're missing something truly brilliant.
It was a nominee for goal of the week. Diaz. Ansopoulos. Excellent ball played over the top to Werner, right on the money. Blackwood finds himself open on a fortuitous bounce. Donovan got beat. Corti was beat, but Blackwood over the bar.
How unlucky is this? Sam Werner tries to put it into the mixer. Little touch off Connor Donovan. Blackwood, sit down, have a cup of tea, do anything that you want, but at the end of it, close this out. Too much space in front of you to not put it on frame and challenge Nico Corti. Instead, another opportunity goes by the wayside.
Blackwood at times this year has struggled to find himself in the 18. Obviously got a start last week and helped Sacramento to a 1-0 victory. Tonight they trail by that score here as we approach the 1 hour mark. And he's had a couple of looks but hasn't been able to actually finish one.
This is one of those times where you're approaching the 60th minute. I promise you, Simon Elliott is thinking the same thing. He's got the firepower on the bench. He can bring on the likes of Stefano Bonomo. He can move Cami Wasa up top and just kind of put the pieces to this puzzle together down the stretch of this game. Maybe bring on the likes of Bichev. You even have Skundrich who can play an attacking role that we've seen over the 2019 campaign. But eventually he's gonna have to pull the trigger because the guys that are on the field right now just don't have Lady Luck in their corner.
It's a tough challenge. Sam Junkwa called for the foul. Meanwhile, RGV with a sub. Eric Bird, his day is over. It's Victor Garza coming on in his place. Bird nearly scored in the first half. That was his biggest contribution, but looked good at right center mid.
For Eric Bird, most of his shift was spent on the defensive side of things, just maintaining the shape with the midfield three. He, Cabrera, and Martinez, ever so active, trying to find a way to make sure they weren't allowing Sacramento Republic to play through the middle, but also providing distribution to Kevin Rodriguez and Camilo Monroy.
Good ball played across, but nobody home. Barahona with the left foot. Too much on it. Garza, of course, back at RGV for his 3rd year. Hasn't played a ton this season. He's come on as a substitute each time, but this is his 4th appearance now in 6 games. See what he can bring over what will be perhaps his longest showing of the year. Two subs remaining for Toros FC, still all 3 at Simon Elliott's disposal. Idea there from Monroy, back to the mid. Partain taps it ahead, onside. Blackwood has his chance. Boy, oh boy. never struck it clean, and it just sort of tinkered its way on forward.
He pump fakes here, and good job by Kyle Adams to come back across. Sometimes you don't have to get the full Monty, just a little touch to push the attacker away. Well done by the center back, didn't panic. Nico Corti goes to ground. Kyle Adams, a guy that the organization feels Houston Dynamo may have an eye on to get a chance to at least provide a supplemental role to the next level. Still biding time here with RGV, and there is the sub. Bijev coming on. Ray Sari coming off. Most likely you'll see Kemi Wasa tuck himself in. Hayden Partain play a deeper role and have Bijev go to the outside.
Bijev joined Republic FC in the middle of 2017. He'd been on loan from T2 before being signed to a contract at the outset of last year. He's played some soccer overseas. A native of Bulgaria, played in the English Premier League as an 18-year-old, Liverpool FC. Bijev tried to get involved there. Sopoulos heads it forward. German ahead to Blackwood. Now Bijev stays on it. Blackwood with the right foot. It's a good cross. Dangerous ball for Iwasa. Corti with good concentration.
This is well worked here by Sacramento Republic. That's the look you get with Cam Iwasa when you tuck him inside. I really like this role a lot better for the California native. Blackwood goes to the outside, showcases some of the speed.
Here is Iwasa, flags up. Boy, that was a sure goal. Perhaps that substitution of Bijev and the switch around with Blackwood gives Iwasa more of a chance now to be a threat at the top of the formation.
Interestingly enough, Tyler Blackwood has actually come into middle midfield. You just wonder if the two of them are going to play A and B sides up top, or if they will continue this ebb and flow back and forth that we've seen the past 2-3 minutes.
It's been an onslaught of pressure from Sacramento. It continues. Blackwood trying to get there. Adams first touches. Goal kick. How much more of this can RGV take?
Nico Corti holding his breath here for a second. Watch this ball when it comes through Cam Iwasa off the left leg. Can't get the bounce. The same bounce that went the other direction for RGV to get their first goal in the likes of Andy Cabrera does not go the way for the Quails. The visitors are sustaining some offensive movements right now, but just can't find the breakthrough.
And yet there's still 25 minutes remaining before stoppage time. If you're Sacramento, it feels like your time's coming, but you can't fall asleep on the other end of the pitch either. Carlos Smalls had a plethora of opportunities tonight that haven't panned out. Monroy has been a facilitator all evening. He cuts to the middle with great first movement. Monroy right back from Small. That was a bit indecisive with that pass. Bijev pressured, and he's being pulled on. It's a foul. Sacramento will try the other side of the pitch. Mahoney. Back from Hansopoulos. Bijev kept alive. Somehow Junqua couldn't keep it in front. Bijev trying to make it prove costly, and it just hangs in the air and floats harmlessly out of play. Nico Corti didn't play the last couple of nights. I should say the last couple of games, after he had started 4 of the last 5. And that's part of what RGV has to deal with. You get guys coming down from Houston Dynamo. It's hard to run the same starting 11 out even 2 games in a row, to be honest with you. But Corti, I think, has more than done his fair share tonight.
Kirsten Etcheverry will tell you whether it's Corti, Tyler Derrick, or Michael Nelson, all 3 of them more than capable.
Meanwhile, Robert Coronado coming on. California native, former Titan from Cal State Fullerton, on for Rodriguez. Coronado hasn't played since June 22nd against Austin. Played fairly well in that game, started and was subbed off. So substitution number 2 for RGV. Perhaps brought on here because of all of a sudden the necessity to sharpen up that defense.
What you could do with Robert Coronado is he can actually go stand next to Kyle Adams. You can push Junqua, the Dynamo player, up into midfield a bit more to maintain that offensive presence, but also the quote-unquote veteran leadership, if you will, a guy that has a massive amount of experience coming out of the Cal program. He's a rookie, but does tend to get himself to another level. He'll look to exploit that.
Monroy. He can go either way. Just missed it wide left. Good diving effort from Diaz, though he wasn't going to give one up either way. Now he gives up a corner kick instead of a goal kick.
From the tail end of this, doesn't look like it's going to end up in the back of the net, but better safe than sorry for Diaz. Let's see his shape, holding that near post. Well done by the goalkeeper. And his center back, Sopolos, knows that this is never going to be enough. Monroy's still trying to find his first goal in an RGV uniform.
So a corner kick coming. It's played out long, chopped back in, and Blackwood denies it. All of a sudden, without Blackwood at the top of the formation, he feels like he's been much more effective. Small with the creative back heel touch. Almost worked out.
Wouldn't necessarily think that either.
Sure.
Blackwood has a bit more speed underneath his legs than Kamiwasa does. And Kamiwasa is the technical player who does drop in and really hold up play quite well, but it is keeping the backline of RGV second guessing in their efforts. And some of that mix up can cause frustration and also make you wonder exactly where the next ball is going to be coming from.
Here's Iwaso, one of the all-time greats in Sacramento. Villarreal. Partain to the corner for Werner. And the flag's up. Haven't seen too many offside calls this evening, but that one is costly. Third one against Republic FC. Simon Elliott trying to figure out this puzzle. He's got plenty of juice on this team. He's got lots of guys that are capable. They've got to figure out how to thread the needle just a little bit better here in the final 20. Only goal belongs to Andy Cabrera back in the 32nd minute. RGV maintains a 1-0 lead. Brendan Gulick along with Devin Kerr. Perfect ball over the top. Bijev strikes it on one touch and cracks it out of play.
Frustration from the Bulgarian. You can see the glimmer in his eye when he wants to hit this first time. Unfortunately, by the time he actually makes his decision, his angle has closed down so drastically.
Good ball driven downfield. And Sopolos wins that over Small, though. Bijev continues to be effective on here as the second half sub. Officially came on in the 63rd minute. Villarreal a little more active here in the second half as well. Barahona. Jaime plays forward. Blackwood feeds Werner. He's got Owasso centrally. Werner instead taps. Boy, that was a dangerous opportunity from Cabrera. Threw the cleats way up high, no call. RGV gets away with it. No real numbers pressed forward, and that opportunity quickly fizzles out.
Got to be smarter here from Victor Garza. Don't have a massive amount of support going forward. When you're going to drive this ball, it's got to be hit with a lot of elevation underneath it. Just put it in the corner. By the time that you're able to collect it and Sacramento Republic shift over, you can move more guys into enemy territory. Instead gives it away, and now Sacramento Republic can start to move that high line back up.
It's a foul on Samuels. He's been the victim, or I should say the culprit, a couple of times tonight. Another look at the foul.
Former Terrapin and national champion in 2018. You can see why Houston drafted him. Wasn't able to secure himself a Dynamo contract, though they felt he was valuable enough to maintain him in the organization.
With some touch on it, Corti comes out to get it. Well, that Maryland team was really, really good.
And who they were able to take down on that run as well. Quite impressive. Nice little ball floated in. Well done by the goalkeeper, who hasn't had a massive amount of work here. Most of it has been in the second half in the form of counterattacks. Well done, just judging the ball coming off his line.
A lot of patience here from Connor Donovan. Finally connects with Small. Small lays it off. A lot of times he'll try to take that ball on his own. Monroy got tangled up. Hasn't cost him possession yet. Good work from Bijev. Adams hangs one up in the atmosphere out of play. Rio Grande Valley 1, Sacramento 0. Beginning the 75th minute here at beautiful HEB Park in Edinburgh, Texas. A site that's been awfully tough for opponents since it opened a couple of years ago. Lofted up high with the left foot. Corti got caught, floated over top of him. Bijev will throw in. Mahoney rolls back. Onsopoulos now to Tainter. Drives it over in the direction of Bijev. Bijev forcing him to go toward the end line. He wouldn't take it, and it cost him. Another look at this ball that was played up high from Barahona.
Gave Nico Corti so much credit just a second ago on his ability to judge the ball floated in. Not the case second time go around.
Well, he better stay on his toes because this has been a second half onslaught. Barahona, another look. This one played just a little bit too much for Blackwood, but not enough to get to Bijev. Good idea on the ball played in, and it's going to be a corner kick.
They've slowly been knocking on the door. RGV need to liven up here a little bit. Go get some smelling salts, a cold glass of water, whatever it is.
I'm not sure I would agree that it's slowly. I think it's been pretty loud and obnoxious at the moment.
I'll tell you what, man, there's just been a poor decision-making for RGV going the other direction. They've actually been able to hold the ball a bit, just giving it away.
That one went right to Corti. Lack of a better way to say it, doesn't it feel like it's been a tale of two halves? I mean, this was RGV in the first half. Finally broke through in the 32nd minute. But they have been so on their heels after the opening 3 minutes of this second period.
Some of this has been what has plagued Sacramento Republic over the course of this season. Not necessarily every game, but it is a recurring theme where last match out, T2 first half looked brilliant, faded in the second. This time around, took them a while to get going. Now they're in this match, but can they close out some of their chances?
A play never whistled dead there. Notice Bijev has gone up top to the left-hand side, and Werner's come back down to the right. Well, this is where it's been problematic for RGV. They have not maintained much possession here in this second half. Ooh. Kind of an unforced injury there. I hope he's okay. But Cabrera immediately goes down. It didn't appear to be egregious, but immediately went down.
Sometimes when you have your momentum carrying you one way and you read the pass appropriately, as you step, either your joint in the ankle region or in the knee can be off just a little bit, and there's enough pace behind the ball, it can cause some agitation to that area. That's what happens to Cabrera here. Just an opportunity to get a, there's the one before, get a breather and get back at it. Glass of water, inside 15 to go, clinging to that 1-0 lead.
It's athletic trainer Randy Lininger attending to Cabrera. Hopefully he's okay. Yeah, it's the same ankle that he got stepped on. Perhaps that was the reason for it. Whatever the case, glad to see him back on his feet again. You talk about being such a young player and trying to be comfortable on this level. You almost feel some sort of, I would think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I would feel as a younger player, your toughness is maybe tested more than it is when you've earned your stripes a little bit more.
Let's not sugarcoat it. There's pride involved.
Sure.
You get an opportunity to go play with the professionals, get a contract yourself. You want to make sure that you're relevant when you're being talked about in the locker room and within the coaching staff. Andy Cabrera has done that for himself. I can remember the first time that I had really been out of my element. I was 14 years old playing for a U19 team, and you kind of walk in and look around and go, what am I doing here? And so you will test yourself, push yourself past the limits that maybe you were more regularly accustomed to at a lower level, but it is all part of the growth process so that when you do get your contract and you step up, it's not about exactly who's around you, it's about the system that's put in place and what your role is. So that no matter if RGV is rotating 15, 20, 30 players, you know what your specific role is. Andy Cabrera is starting to prove that.
Blackwood thought he was the recipient of the foul. Instead, he's whistled for the violation. Get a substitution here. Get a chance to see Drew Skundrich coming on. They will replace Jaime Villarreal, who's had a pretty active second half. Second substitution for Sacramento. And a substitution for RGV, their final one, Nico Lemoyne, coming on for Cabrera.
Substitution for Sacramento Republic FC number 12.
Good shift by Cabrera. Of course, got the lone goal earlier on this match. Nico Lemoyne, one of the academy players that came up through both San Jose and Houston. Step onto the field for the 14th time this season for Drew Skundrich. You asked me at halftime who I thought the subs would be. Said Bijev, said Skundrich. With all due respect to both Ray Sari and Villarreal, those two are great talisman for this club. Skundrich does provide you, at least the role that he's taken on this year, a bit more of an offensive look. And when you combine that with the likes of Blackwood and Iwasa and Partain in the middle of the field, that is a recipe for greatness going forward.
They've certainly got the pieces. So RGV out of subs here. Coronado, Garza, and Lemoyne have all come on. Skundrich and Bijev both subbed on here. One remaining substitution for Sacramento. 81st minute, still looking for the equalizer. Kyle Adams slides that one away. Hansopoulos and Small challenging. The whistle kills play. Some extracurriculars, but leaves Jerson Echeverry a little frustrated. Right back to high pressure stakes. Tainter, low driving ball, was headed softly by Skundrich. Always good to immediately get involved. A second look there at Skundrich.
Just trying to redirect this in. Thought maybe Cam Iwasa was going to sneak behind that trailing run on the far post.
Former Stanford Cardinal and former national champion. Talk about Maryland. How about the Stanford teams? Just this decade, let alone historically in their program. They are among the true measuring sticks of men's college soccer.
He was teammates with Nico Corti and the back-to-back-to-back three-time national champions in the run of 2015, 16, and 17 for the Stanford Cardinals. Jeremy Gunn has built himself something special out west.
Bijev, little head fake, nobody biting, rolls it into traffic, and it's popped away. Tainter chooses to go wide here. Barahona takes a shot over the top. RGV feels like they're doing just enough right now, and they're going to bring on Stefano Bonomo. Tyler Blackwood's day is over.
Just enough isn't always enough, I can tell you that much. 8 minutes to go. Now the bigger names, if you will, from Sacramento Republic, at least the guys that people tend to know more for their goal-scoring prowess, coming into full focus. Just whether or not that can come into resolution is the true question.
Corti gobbles it up. RGV trying to beat Sacramento for the first time ever. So far, so good. Andy Cabrera's goal in the 32nd minute, the only tally so far. And frankly, when it went in, it pinballed around enough that perhaps you thought it wouldn't go home. Diaz had made a stop, the ball hit the post. Cabrera finally pulled it back to his feet, spun and shot it inside the right, just barely ahead of Diaz. A rare chance, RGV gives it away. Back to your earlier point, their decision-making on the attack this half has been a little bit lackluster. And they've been susceptible to giving it up the other way. Now Werner. Werner to his right, he's got space. Back in front, it is an own goal. We are level at 1.
Mr. Reliability, Isidro Martinez is the one who was on the wrong side of this ball coming back across from Sam Werner. Poor decision-making on the other side of the field. There was a good job by Lemoyne getting all the way back down in. An overlapping run by Andrew Samuels that he gives it up too late. And then watch the Quails go to work. Quick in the counter-attacking option. They get down into the channel. Sam Werner has the ball back across to Cam Iwasa. If the touch doesn't happen, this is going in the back of the net either way. Unfortunately, the holding midfielder from Brownsville, Texas, knocks it into the back of his own net. And inside 10 minutes to go, there is life for Sacramento.
Can the Quails come on the road and pull one out late? They've finally drawn level and have a ton of momentum. Both teams, frankly, desperate for 3 points given the tight nature of the standings right now. But frankly, RGV will take anything they can get with just 1 point over their last 4. It's interesting that Republic FC finally get a goal after Blackwood comes off the field. It felt like he did so much work in the second half, building up those opportunities. I don't think there's any true correlation to them scoring once he leaves. That's just sort of an anomaly. He played well. Sometimes the ball doesn't spin your way. Get a look there at Mahoney. Iwasa taps over. A chance for Werner again. With the left foot this time. Monroy. I don't anticipate too much stoppage time. Would think just a couple of minutes. Haven't had any lengthy injuries. Werner back across. Adams almost put one in his own net. It'll be a corner kick.
Brilliant movement coming out of the middle of the field by Drew Skundrich. He starts this run about 50 yards out, just inside the center circle. Calls for it right as he's approaching the top of the 18. Well done by Werner to pick him out. Couldn't close things out, but just a great look by Drew Skundrich coming out of the middle.
Bijev with the right foot. It's a long ball. Back up top. Partain, diving play, still alive for Bijev. Back into the middle. Sacramento feels like it's going to happen for them, and that's certainly a yellow card. Hansopoulos, frankly lucky it's not more than that. It's the first booking of the whole game, but that was without any hesitation.
Carlos Small is beside himself, had a boatload of room to run here. The man from Bielefeld, Germany, doing a good job using the professional smarts about him. This would have been a great look for RGV going the other direction. I don't mind the foul at all, to be honest, especially with just a few minutes to go. There was a retaliation on the backside by Carlos Small, and our referee will reward him for his efforts. They both go into the book.
That's a nice way of putting it. Carlos Small goes down there. Sacramento. The 85th minute. An own goal that deflects off of Isidro Martinez. Brings us level at 1. Can RGV strike late? A chance for Garza. No. Corner kick. Martinez, perhaps a chance to right his own wrong. Get another look at this here. I suppose it did glance off of Hayden Partain. Martinez, in swinger, into trouble. Hansopoulos a little wild with that elbow once more. Connor Donovan couldn't direct it toward the net. We'll have another chance at it.
You think that with all the bodies in here, there would eventually be a direction that would go for the RGV boys. Instead, they both get ahead on it.
Second chance, Small perhaps. Spins and shoots! It's off Kyle Adams! RGV in the 90th minute! It's a minor miracle! Toros FC on the verge of a win.
The bounce they were looking for just moments ago could not make its way. Hansopoulos had something to say about that. RGV, second time around, same look. Ball back into the mixer. Little touch that goes by the wayside of Samuels. And how about Carlos Small? It has not been his night. He recognizes that he doesn't have the best look, puts this back across the 6, and for the first time in 42 matches, the New Zealand native, Kyle Adams, finally gets his first goal in an RGV uniform.
22-year-old with his first career goal, not just first of the season. 3 minutes of stoppage time coming. What a crazy end of this game. Monroy trying to race up toward the corner. That has to be a foul. And Mahoney probably going into the book. He is.
Frustration at the end of this. Bijev did a good job to track back here. Thought maybe he might have continued on to apply the pressure, and he and Mahoney could have played a 2v1 game, try and pick the pocket and go the other way. Unfortunately, he pulls up and Mahoney lets his emotions get the best of him. Takes Camilo down to the floor. And now just an opportunity for RGV to start to see this thing out slowly. Just about a minute and a half to go.
Garza loses it to Bijev. Crossed into the middle. Iwasa wasting no time, and his pass was off target. RGV. They've been outplayed here in the second half. On the second of 2 corner kicks, a deflection toward Adams. Right now, the difference. Still a life. That should be a foul the other way. Lemoyne into the book. Nico Lemoyne, little little wild with that right arm.
It's the back end of this that gets him in trouble, not the tackle where he steps in here. There's a trailing arm that comes back across his body on Hayden Partain, and it's right in front of the referee. Referee blows the whistle, and now with just a minute to go, they'll get a set piece opportunity. There it is, arm coming back across, not too much, but it's enough to have a say. Don't want to gift opportunities away. RGV have done it.
Into the box, it slips through untouched. Looks like a goal kick. Tainter rolls it back over to Corti. RGV perhaps within a minute away from their first victory since the middle of June. One last push. Game that's had a lot of chances for both teams, no doubt. There's the final whistle, full time. Toros FC back in the win column, 2-1 in their first ever win over Sacramento. Kyle Adams, his first career goal. Right place, right time. It deflects off him into the back of the net, and RGV steals one after they had given up the equalizer, surrendering so much second half pressure.
To be fair to the home squad, they were the better one in the opening 45 minutes. The conversion rate lacking once again, but Sacramento Republic, those woes follow them on the road as well. They can't convert theirs in the second half. RGV grab a late one, and for the first time in the 5 matches, the Toros have 3 points.
There was Andy Cabrera who scored in the 32nd minute. Own goal in the 85th, and then the late one pressed in. Full stats and highlights when we come back in just a moment.
The more we are together with nature, the more we are together, the better we'll be. There's forests and rivers, mountains and valleys. The more we are together, the better we'll be.
For 35 years, Lone Star National Bank has grown along with our customers. Together, we have helped transform South Texas, raised families, and planted roots to create opportunities that benefit not the few, but the many, to plan and build for a better tomorrow, to imagine what is possible. That is how you build strong communities and the strong bank, one generation at a time. For 35 years, Lone Star National Bank, the Valley's Bank.
Welcome to your hometown Whataburger. Customization is what we've always done. We have mustard, mayo, ketchup. It's all up to you.
When you customize your own burger, you can put your personality in it.
Manny's ketchup, no cheese. This is my Whataburger.
We customize orders 24 hours a day.
Everybody wants it just like they like it. When you can make it your own, that always enhances that experience for you.
They're just happy to do whatever makes you happy.
However you want it, I got you. Here at Whataburger, we make it just like you like it, whenever you like it.
How about a 2-1 victory for RGV tonight? Just eking one out against Western Conference foe Sacramento Republic FC. Let's take a look at the full-time highlights. It certainly got exciting in the second half after we had a first 45 that lived up to the hype. Early opportunities, but this RGV side just refused to give in.
Hayden Partain had the early chance for Sacramento. That would go wide of the far post. Carlos Small, the best chance for him of the first half. And this is one of those things I talked about where he had multiple opportunities, both in the first and the second, to break the deadlock. He couldn't do so. Lady luck was not shining bright on him. Great job by Mahoney on the far side to just complete the playoff, clear it off the end line. And how about this? Nice little touch in. Kevin Rodriguez coming back across. Tainer almost puts it in the back of his own net. he would continue this jousting back and forth. And it was the giveaway on the far side. And then watch the transitional play. Well done by Andy Cabrera. How about Carlos Small? Makes the near post run to push the space away. And then Camilo recognizes that the lane has closed down. It's a quick little chip, but the follow-up here on the deflection that's given up by Diaz. Cabrera can't get the first one. The second one gets the opening goal for RGV.
Yeah, Diaz able to save it twice. Bird with a rocket. Hit him in the face, hit him in the shoulder, hit the post. Cabrera just wouldn't give up, and finally RGV got on the board in the 32nd minute. It stayed that way until the second half. Another good look from Carlos Small, this one very early in the second.
One of the things that happens to a striker when you're lacking confidence is you second guess yourself. Most guys would have hit that first time. He takes the second one, then leans back, sails it up over the bar. Camilo trying to go far post. He's still looking for his goal for RGV. That would not come tonight. And what would come, though, is Sacramento Republic. They would get back into this game. They would start to gain some momentum. There was a giveaway on one end, and how about Sam Warner? Lovely transitional play. Kyle Adams rotating out. First ball comes back in, deflection. Blackwood up over the top of the bar.
Blackwood eventually subbed off, but my goodness, did he have his fair share of good looks. Another one coming here at the very tail end. This one Adams got a piece of. Said early on, Adams hadn't been a massive part of this evening's game until late. Here's the own goal that ties it up.
He grew into it, didn't he? There was the first one there, the deflection on the backside. Sometimes as a center back, you only need one little touch. He actually doesn't necessarily get this wrong, but you'd like to see him hold shape a bit better. If he sits and allows this to go to the byline, the ball's always coming back your way. What you do is continue your run. You don't step out. Instead, there's a deflection. That ends up in the back of their own net, but that would not be it. Kyle Adams in the 90th minute. Carlos Small, when you cannot score, you find other ways to be an impact. He does this here. Great left-footed ball back across, and Adams gets his first professional goal. It cometh in the form of added extra time. RGV 2-1 to the victors.
What a night, and that possession number is certainly telling. Sacramento dominated the ball in the second half, and they certainly had the lion's share of good looks. But finally, RGV able to get a win when they so desperately needed it. It's been more than a month. Finally get 3 points here at home. Kyle Adams, the late hero. Devin, your final thoughts.
Once again, the conversion rate lacking for both teams. This is something that is going to continue to plague them down their season run. Have to find a way to get better. I understand it's good in training. Yes, we've seen opportunities on the field, but now it is time to start producing. Good news for RGV. A bit of momentum at the end. They get 3 points and move on. For the Quails, back to the drawing board. They get at it midweek with New Mexico United.
RGV, next time they're on the pitch, it'll be on Saturday next weekend. They'll be on the road at Las Vegas, a team that they're very much looking forward to playing after having beaten them 5-2 earlier in the year. On behalf of our producer, Tim McDermott, and for Devin Kerr, I'm Brendan Gulick. For our entire production crew, good night from HEB Park. RGV with a late stunner. Kyle Adams, right place, right time, gets his first career goal, and he sends RGV home happy. Have a great night, everybody.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.